James Carter TV here to recap an NFC East battle between the Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles. A battle, or the result of the battle, that I actually predicted correctly in my Week 4 predictions that I made on Thursday afternoon. Look, I mean, when you look at 2015 and you look at the results that we've gotten in 2015, there's not much evidence to suggest that the Philadelphia Eagles are a good football team in 2015. Now, sure, we can look at the roster and we can say they have this guy and they have this guy and they have this guy, and because they have these guys, they're going to be good. But it hasn't shown up on the field. And yes, they did win in New York last week, but we even came away from that win underwhelmed. And we saw here today that, man, the Redskins just might be a better team than the Eagles. At least in Washington, that must prove to be true. I mean, Washington dominated the first half. I mean, they were up 13-0 or 16-0 after the first half. The Eagles couldn't get anything going offensively. But then in the second half, Chris Culliver, cornerback for the Washington Redskins, allowed some deep balls. Sam Bradford threw the ball pretty well. I'll give him that. Threw the ball up. And Riley Cooper came down with one. Someone else, I can't remember right now, came down with another deep ball for a touchdown. Miles Austin, yeah, wow, this guy actually showed up and did something. Good for him. But ultimately, this is what the game came down to. The Eagles are up 20-16. The Washington Redskins had yet... they scored a field goal in the second half, but had yet to score in the fourth quarter. Kirk Cousins has the ball at his own, 30-yard line. It's time to drive down the field. And even though I had picked the Redskins to win this game, every bone in my body was telling me they're not going to do it. Because with bad teams, and the Redskins have historically been a bad team throughout this decade, and definitely under the Jay Gruden era, bad teams don't make these drives. Bad teams do not complete these drives. Bad teams do not convert game-winning drives. And yet, Kirk Cousins, man, went down the field, completed balls here, completed balls there, very accurate, very precise, didn't take sacks. I was absolutely overwhelmed and impressed by Kirk Cousins and how beautiful, it really was, how beautiful this drive was. This guy was fitting the ball in some tight windows throughout the drive, especially on the touchdown. I mean, we're talking about in the red zone, we're talking about press coverage, and this guy was so precise and pinpoint in the way that he was putting balls in certain places. Now, maybe this game is an aberration, and maybe he'll go back to the Kirk Cousins we all know and hate next week, but for this week, man, I'm impressed with Kirk Cousins, man, and Jay Gruden. I was skeptical of this guy. A lot of people were skeptical of this guy. Right now, the Redskins are 2-2, and I think by the end of the day, they'll be on top of the NFC East, because I don't have the Cowboys winning tonight, and maybe they will, and maybe I'll be wrong. But Jay Gruden has this team playing better than almost anyone expected them to play. Their defense is getting after him. I mean, Sam Bradford, you can see, even when the chances were, the chance was minute. You know, when they had the ball 30 seconds left after the Kirk Cousins touchdown, the chance was minute, but it was still prevalent. And despite that, the Redskins got after Sam Bradford. I mean, they have Preston Smith, the second-round pick out of Mississippi State, getting after the quarterback. We already know about Jason Hatcher's history. We already know about Ryan Kerrigan's history. Trent Murphy, although he's usually a run-defending guy, he even got after the quarterback, got a sack today. So, man, this defense is playing better than I expected, above expectations. Kirk Cousins is playing above expectations. This whole team is playing above expectations, and you have to come out impressed. Now, I still don't believe this team is better than a 6 or 7 tops win team, and I don't think that would be good enough to win the NFC East, but the Redskins are doing better than expectations. It'll be interesting to see how their season goes and how they go from here after the season. As for the Philadelphia Eagles, I really wanted to defend Chip Kelly after the decisions he made in the offseason, but you have to get results, and the results have been poor. 1-3 now to start the season. We already know they got rid of LaShawn McCoy, got rid of Evan Mathis, got rid of Jeremy Maclin, got rid of Nick Foles. and you're not seeing dividends. So when it comes to that, you have to look at him, you have to point to him, and you have to say, you idiot. Because, hey, you can get rid of players, man. Players come and go in the NFL all the time. That's fine. Okay, I can be on board with that. But you have to replace them with good players. And he hasn't done that. Nelson Aguilar had a nice catch today, but had a horrible fumble today. Sam Bradford, I mean, I guess I'd give him like a C for this game, which I guess isn't horrible. But Nick Foles was just, he was great in this offense. Evan Mathis is dearly missed on that offensive line, and he's causing a lot of the hell Sam Bradford, or his absence is causing a lot of the hell Sam Bradford is going through. And LaShawn McCoy, the Eagles can't run the ball. Now, maybe with LaShawn McCoy help, I don't know about that one. That one I'm a little skeptical because DeMarco Murray had 8 rushes for 36 yards. I just think they can't run because as soon as they get the ball, they're getting hit because the offensive line is so poor. Jason Peters, I was on the record saying before the season, I thought he was a top 3 left tackle. Forget it. This guy is not playing up to par at all right now. All right, so there's your recap for that game. Redskins are impressing me while the Philadelphia Eagles are not at all. And real quick, let's glimpse into next week for both of these teams and see what they're up against next week. The Washington Redskins travel to the Atlanta Falcons. This is a loss for them, but they're happy to be 2-2 right now, so they'll take that. And the Philadelphia Eagles host the New Orleans Saints. Now, we'll see how the Saints look tonight. But right now, I'm leaning Eagles right now, but man, let's see how the Saints look tonight before I make any official declarations. Now, real quick, let's recap the results of the early games. Let's start with Jacksonville losing to Indianapolis. I said in my predictions video, actually I didn't say it, I commented down below, that when I made that video, I really didn't believe there was a possibility that Andrew Luck was going to be out for this football game. But in the case he was, I was going to pick Matt Hasselbeck. Or, I mean, I wasn't going to pick Matt Hasselbeck. I wasn't. So I was going to pick the Jaguars to win this game. And this is a pick see, when you get a pick wrong, there are sometimes you regret it. You're like, yeah, I was an idiot. But this isn't one. The Jaguars, they should have won this game. They're just idiots, man. I mean, the Jaguars, I mean, look, you know how bad the Jaguars are. I mean, they're lucky. Like, if they're 5-11, they're going to be celebrating. And maybe I should stop. I mean, I really don't trust them at all. But maybe I should stop trusting them as little as I do. I mean, you know how much of an upgrade it would be for the Jaguars to go 5-11? I mean, why am I trusting this team? All right, next, the Giants beat the Bills. I don't regret this pick. I mean, there's no way I could have saw this coming. There's no way. The Bills have been playing great. The Giants have been playing okay. I could not have seen this coming. So I'll accept that as a loss. But hey, maybe the New York Giants are starting to position themselves to win the NFC East. Their horrible defense isn't looking so horrible right now. So I don't know about that. All right, the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Chiefs. I thought the Chiefs could go get a road win. But man, Alex Smith is not good enough. Andy Reid is not good enough right now, man. 7 field goal attempts, and the last 2 should not have been attempted. Actually, I don't think not any of them, but I mean, I don't think a lot of them should be. Can you be aggressive? Can you guys move the ball down the field and score a damn touchdown? I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, this is a game, honestly. I think if they just convert on these opportunities. I mean, because you were in scoring position 7 times. In order for you to make 7 field goals, that means you were in field goal range at least 7 times. Leave with touchdowns. I mean, there's what, a 60% touchdown percentage in the red zone? This does not apply to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, this is 7. If you're facing Cairo Santos in fantasy football, you got screwed over today. But hey, the Bengals are 4-0. There's a lot of 4-0 teams, and I'm not buying a lot of them. All right, now, next we have a 4-0 team that I am buying, and that's the Atlanta Falcons. They blew out the Houston Texans. I tried to tell Texans fans, I really did. Go back. I love this video. Go back to my Houston Texans 2015 NFL preview. I laid it out before the season why they would be so bad. And now they're even worse. They're even worse. They're, to me, at this moment, They are the number one contender for the number one overall pick. They are. The Bears won today, so because of that, it's the Texans. It's the Texans now are the number one chance, number one team for the number one pick. They are. Next game, we have the Chicago Bears beating the Oakland Raiders. I mean, I was low on the Oakland Raiders as compared to the masses coming into this season. People were talking about them being 7-9. I scoffed at it. And coming into this game, I thought Jay Cutler would be out. He wasn't. I picked the Raiders to win this game, and I regret it. Because if I knew Jay Cutler was healthy coming in, I honestly would have picked the Bears. This is not hindsight 2020 BS. The Bears are a better team. They have Matt Forte at running back, Jermon Bushrod, Alshon Jeffrey, although he didn't play, Kyle Long, Pernell McPhee, Jeremiah Ratliff, who's suspended right now, but still. The Bears they have more talent than the Raiders. The Raiders have 5 players, really. And plus an offensive line. They have Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, Khalil Mack, Charles Woodson, who can make a play every now and then, Dan Williams, and DJ Hayden. I mean, and Latavius Murray, who fumbled the hell out of the ball today. And then they have an offensive line, and that's it. Their defense still has holes everywhere like Swiss cheese. Their wide receivers beyond Amari Cooper aren't that consistent. There's still issues on this football team. They're going to win 6 wins max, guys. They still have a long way to go. Speaking of a long way to go, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got blown out by the Carolina Panthers. Jameis Winston, who I went to bat for, who I said before the draft, I said he'd be an all-pro. And I'll stick by that. But right now, man, he's not getting off to a good start. 4 interceptions today. 5 turnovers in total as he had a fumble as well. Bad. Just bad. And none of them, not one, can I blame on anything but himself. So that's just, wow. Oh, man. And I'm not buying. I'm not buying the Panthers still. I mean, I might buy them now because they're 4-0 now. So I might buy them as a wild card team. I'd be shocked if they won a playoff game. They're still too fraudulent. Like Cam Newton today was 11 for 22. That's 50% for 124 yards. Are you kidding me? Those are honestly in 2015. Maybe if this was 1984, those would be good stats. Those are horrible stats for a quarterback. Now, he has nothing to work with. I mean, his best receiver is some idiot named Breslin, who I've never heard of in my life. But that's bad. All right, that kind of quarterback production is not going to get you far in the NFL in 2015. Next game, but Josh Norman is a beast. I mean, this guy's Defensive Player of the Year. He is. He's number 1. All right, next game, we have the New York Jets. They beat the Miami Dolphins. Good. The Dolphins, we need to consider the Dolphins as being one of the worst teams in the NFL. And I might make a video about this this week. Who's the worst team in the NFL? And there's no longer a team that is winless now. The Bears, as they've shown today, they're not that bad. Okay, so now we need to talk about the Miami Dolphins. They beat a Washington Redskins team that would be lucky to win 6 games. And they needed a punt return for a touchdown to do it. And then, after that, they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got blown out by the Buffalo Bills, and they got bullied by the New York Football Jets. We need to consider that this team just isn't very good. They might be good on paper, but Joe Philbin has this team going nowhere fast. And it's bad. It's bad in Miami. I mean, it's horrible. And they can't even fire him mid-season. People say fire Joe Philbin mid-season. Who are you going to hire? Who's going to be the interim coach mid-season? Bill Lazor stinks. Kevin Coyle's lame. There's no candidates on this team. Maybe they have a wide receiver coach that's good or something, but I don't know who he is. So, I mean, good luck finding an interim coach. But the Miami Dolphins, we need to consider that they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. They have a bye week coming up next week. After that, they face the Tennessee Titans. If they lose to the Tennessee Titans, it's time to start talking about they're the worst team in the NFL. All right, guys, those are the recaps for the early games and also for the Redskins and Eagles. Comment down below your thoughts on everything. My picks aren't great this week, man. I need to stop trusting these home teams. The Buccaneers let me down. The Bills let me down. The Raiders on the road let me down. Man, the Jags couldn't beat Matt Hasselbeck. I mean, I can't believe it. I cannot believe some of these results this week, but hey, welcome to the NFL. Well, until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.